Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever actually stopped to wonder what love, affection, and detachment really are at their absolute core? Like, why is it that a total stranger can suddenly become so intensely important to us that we'd literally give our lives for them? It's wild, right? Well, today in this explainer, we're exploring the profound, totally fascinating, and honestly slightly dark psychological phenomenon of human love. We're going to look under the hood of human romance to decode the brain's hidden wiring. We want to uncover the absolutely powerful biological forces pulling the strings when we fall for someone. So, this brings us to a pretty controversial foundational question. Is that intense, soul bonding feeling of love actually just a biological imperative? Are those butterflies in your stomach simply a carefully orchestrated hormonal imbalance? You see, when we fall in love, a very specific part of our brain lights up, and it's remarkably similar to the neural pathways of addiction. We get this overwhelming rush of pleasure, and we push well beyond our normal limits just to keep it going. So we kind of have to ask, is what we call romance simply our brain craving its next chemical fix? Well, to really answer that, we gotta look back. Love isn't just some modern dating trend of fleeting romances and quick breakups. No, it is an ancient, deeply embedded survival mechanism. This timeless quality of love has existed literally since the dawn of humanity, and we actually see variations of it across countless species. At its absolute core, love is a feeling that's incredibly vital for human survival. It plays a foundational role in keeping nature balanced and, well, keeping our species alive. And this brilliantly illustrates how we actually process that survival mechanism. If we look at the work of anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher, she maps out the biological roadmap of a relationship into three distinct chronological stages: attraction, affection, and deep love. You can't just skip to the end as much as we might want to. Each phase serves highly specific evolutionary and chemical purpose, fundamentally altering our minds and bodies as we move from that very first spark to a lifelong partnership. So let's start with phase one, attraction. Think about the last time you met someone new. Before you even had the chance to fully process their first sentence, your brain was already making massive biological calculations. Psychologist Arthur Aaron discovered that the initial spark of attraction takes hold in a shockingly fast window. We're talking just 80 seconds to 4 minutes. Literally, in less than a minute and a half, your subconscious is already laying the foundation for what could become a lifelong bond. Crazy, right? So how exactly does your brain make a potentially life-altering decision in under 90 seconds? Well, it completely dismantles how we typically think about first impressions. You know how we always agonize over having the perfect, clever pickup line? Actually, scratch that. It doesn't even matter that much. The actual content of the words you say accounts for a mere 7% of attraction. Just 7%. Meanwhile, your body language, your physical presence, and your energy completely dominate the interaction at 50%, followed closely by your speaking style at 38%. Your brain is basically bypassing the words entirely and directly reading the other person's subconscious signals. But it goes beyond just body language. Our physical senses are pulling in massive amounts of hidden data. Let me give you an example. In one really fascinating experiment, Arthur Aaron had absolute strangers sit in silence and just stare into each other's eyes for exactly 4 minutes. And the result? Many of them felt this deep, undeniable attraction. And get this, 4 of those exact pairs actually married within a year. No way, right? But it's not just visual either. Every single time you breathe in someone's unique scent, your olfactory system sends that data straight to your brain, literally decoding their genetic makeup to assess their biological compatibility with you. It's like a hidden superpower. Okay, so once that sensory data triggers a match, boom, we enter a phase of pure chemical chaos. Intense physical desire prompts the brain to release sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, fueling the drive for a physical bond. But it's really dopamine and norepinephrine that act as the true puppeteers here. These chemicals completely flood your neural pathways, and because of that, you lose sleep. Your appetite just vanishes, and you turn into this obsessed philosopher, completely unable to get this new person out of your head. Now, right at the center of that chaotic chemical cocktail is a truly fascinating compound, phenylethylamine, or C8H11N. According to researcher Dr. Robert Purvain, this specific neurochemical is the literal scientific reason why we say love is blind. It actively suppresses the critical parts of your brain, making you completely ignore the faults and red flags of your new partner.
Now, we all have this chemical naturally, but early love triggers a massive overdose of it. The catch, though, the brain cannot sustain this. After about 3 to 4 years, those levels inevitably crash.
And while phenylethylamine is making us totally blind to those red flags, altered serotonin levels are what actually make us feel crazy in love. During this early phase, serotonin activity mirrors the exact brain state of obsessive-compulsive behaviors. Science essentially categorizes this stage of love as a state of intense craving. Much like an addiction, where the brain is just continuously chasing a short-lived high, this neurochemical storm makes early love feel like a powerful, all-consuming dependency. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the human body simply cannot survive in a state of permanent, fiery chemical chaos. The dopamine, serotonin, and phenylethylamine that drive all that obsession of early romance, they have a biological expiration date. You just can't stay in that hyper-aroused state forever. For a relationship to actually survive, the brain has to swap out those chaotic fireworks for something much more durable, transitioning into the deep, highly stable neurochemistry of long-term attachment. This durable phase is what's known as deep bonding. Here, the brain leaves those chaotic cravings behind and hands the reins over to oxytocin and vasopressin. When couples stay together long enough to weather that drop in early attraction hormones, these two incredibly powerful neurochemicals take over. They forge profound feelings of mutual responsibility, deep trust, and lasting social bonding. Unlike the fleeting high of early romance, this chemical state is built for endurance. It serves as the neurological glue that can genuinely bind two people together for a lifetime. So, what does this all mean? I mean, we have successfully mapped the brain's code and identified the exact chemical formulas for obsession and attachment. But love isn't so simple that a single scientific definition can capture the whole shebang. As philosophers and poets have long argued, love is a holistic gift of nature. Yes, the psychological and biological factors are totally undeniable, for sure. But it is not merely a chemical craving. It is the fundamental mechanism that allows humans to survive, to build complex societies, and to keep the natural world in balance. Which brings us to a final thought for today. Knowing all of this incredible science, knowing about that tight 80-second window, your brain decoding DNA through scent, and that inevitable shift from chaotic dopamine to enduring oxytocin, is your love a conscious choice? Or is it just beautifully orchestrated biology? Take a second to think about your own experiences, the people you've been drawn to, and the deep bonds you've built. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the incredible science behind our everyday lives.